The Homeland Conspiracy is a local band spanning 9 years. We chatted influences, recording albums locally with groundbreaking sound studios, discussing lyrics and what's next for the Homeland Conspiracy. You can find more conversations on our website, lacrosselocal.com. I'm Amy, and he's Brent, and this is Lacrosse Local.
I'm JR. I was born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I got into music. Well, I've always been into music. So just listening to records. I liked it.
All right, I'm Scott. I started playing music back in high school, way back in the day. Where was I born?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, yeah. I was born in La Crosse, Wisconsin.
I believe it was a Wednesday.
On Wednesday in a hospital. Yeah, I went to school at GT, and that was when I started my first band back in '93 called Beholder. And ever since then, I've never looked back. Got me moving, got me interested, made me friends, kept me alive.
My name is Benjamin Rice. I was born in Mora, Minnesota. Grew up with music. Father was a musician. He played in cover bands and even did his own stuff. Basically, my fetal stage. So yeah, just kind of always stuck with me. Kind of the usual route of, I didn't really start getting serious about music until probably had to be 9-ish when I started playing saxophone in middle school band, that whole thing. Started getting serious probably around there and been doing it ever since. So, like JR said, day jobs, maybe a couple times in my life where I haven't needed a day job, but being a single guy paying $300 a month for rent, it's easy to do. You know, playing with these guys is my favorite gig by far. And now 8 years into it, comfortable with each other, but not to a fault, you know. Kind of easy to make music with these guys now.
I'm Jim, born in DC. I've kind of always been into music. My grandfather pretty much got me into that. He was a sousaphone player. So he got me into lots of different things like, you know, marching band and stuff like that. And started playing guitar when I was 18 and then kind of slacked off on it. And for a couple of years I did vocals and moved out to the Midwest and picked the guitar back up again and got in with these guys. And it's been a pretty good gig so far.
My name's Mort, Jimmy Heiderscheit, born in La Crosse, National Day of Tragedy, 9/11, but in 1980. Been playing music since I was 5. First real band when I was younger teenage years. And this gig is rad. It's one of the most fun things I've ever done.
Digging into your history here and kind of following your timeline, reading about you guys being formed in 2011. You played a number of years, then took a break and came back to record your album, Who's Behind the Eye, in 2018. So how did Homeland Conspiracy come to be, and how has it changed over these past 9 years?
So I moved to La Crosse in 2003, and shortly after ended up becoming Mr. Thiago's neighbor, the mighty Wedgwood Commons down the Muddy Flats. And met him out at a show. He was playing in the band Hollow Point, and they were playing at a club 324. And I had met him and some other peeps out there. We ended up being neighbors, shooting the shit, got along, started making some music. And it kind of, that was what, 15 plus years ago?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Yeah, about 15.
And we started doing a gig called Ashcan Prophets. And that was a acoustic, all original gig. And I think even 1 or 2 of the songs we played now came from that.
Yeah.
That many years ago. And fast forward, however many years later, and I was trying to get this kind of oddly staffed band together called My Left Hand. That's where Jim Bott and I started playing together.
Yep.
Myself, Scott, and JR played in this cover band. We just kind of did punktified versions of everything from Cars to, good Lord, help me out here, Eagles, yeah. I mean, but that's how me, Scott, and JR kind of came together.
Listed on your Facebook, you know, you include Helmet, Queens of the Stone Age, Black Flag. I've been listening to your album over the past couple of days. I even hear some sort of Billy Idol on the song, you know, Say What You Mean.
Say what you mean.
kind of coming out with you with these newer songs in this new album?
Anybody we can rip off a good hook from.
Personally, I don't even think about it anymore.
Yeah, it's just whatever comes out.
We're just kind of now making music to make music. I mean, I know personally my influences are different than what the group as a whole.
That's the cool thing about this, real is like everyone's got a totally different main focus of what they listen to.
Yeah.
And my biggest inspiration in this band is the other guys in this band.
You guys recorded on your first album with Jesse Wolf over at Groundbreaking Sound Studios, and you're doing that with your second album, I believe. What is that process like? You kind of talked about, writing music, coming together, kind of jamming. What's the process like when you get together in the studios? Is it down and dirty and quick, or is it something that takes some time to kind of build?
Mort and I knocked both albums out with either one or two tracks. He went in, laid drum tracks, one or two shots, that was it. I went in, laid bass lines, one or two shot, that was it.
Yeah, once you get the rhythm section down, guitar players can really focus and hone in on what they want to have come through in the album, I think.
Yeah, it's pretty quick process, especially for being studio.
Right.
We're not really shiny, polished group of people or musicians.
Right.
Period. So, especially that first album, we wanted it really raw.
Looking at, your name, song titles, some song lyrics, do you guys consider yourself to be kind of a political band or have a political theme or bent to it?
Nah.
Yes and no.
Yeah.
I mean, yes and no, it's mine.
It's not all political.
Social.
It's all social political.
Right. Yeah.
Take your pick.
Well, that's the thing. I think the cool thing is people can kind of think from what they want and make up their own mind.
But you can write a song and have like a particular meaning in mind when you're doing it. But once you put it out there, it's really in the listener's hands at that point. It becomes their story and how they interpret it.
Some of the stuff, if we were standing out on a soapbox on the corner screaming this stuff, we'd have been locked up and tased. But because we're musicians and it's an art form, we can get away with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's been interesting to talk to bands around the area that have a lot of original music. It's not just all cover bands that I was exposed to growing up. It's nice to see La Crosse coming out with these highly original and unique musicians. It's really exciting.
Oh, so much of it's really, really good.
What's coming up with the band that you're really excited about? We talked about the new album. I know there's COVID right now, which kind of sucks, but what is kind of your plan for the next 6 months to the year? What's coming down the pipeline that you're excited about?
We're amassing, we only get to rehearse a couple times a month due to work and family and the usual life stuff, but we still seem to be outpacing album number 2 that's not even really wrapped up and done yet. And we almost have a third ready. We're a few tunes short of it being EP. Right. And we're still just we're writing more than ever lately. Right. So, I know personally, I've just been in that headspace. Whenever we get a chance to make music, I just want to keep making music.
We just shipped the last 2 tracks off to Jesse. So now we can get a final mix and then ship it to New York to get it mastered. So it's in the can. We just have to get it mixed and mastered, and it's finally finished. Although it did take us 6 months to get 2 guitar lines and 2 vocal lines done because of COVID. So we finally just figured out that, hey, we set up a studio in the basement and we're learning Pro Tools, and that's how we ended up shipping the last few parts we had to do. We just did it ourselves and shipped it over to them.
So if people want to follow along, what's the best venue for them to follow the band?
Probably Facebook.
Yeah.
Probably the easiest way to follow us. Jim,
Or Spotify.
Yeah, if y'all listen to
are
albums on
Spotify.
Spotify.
Yeah.
YouTube.
Spotify.
YouTube. Any streaming method we're on.
La Crosse Local Podcast is a production of River Travel Media. Do you have an interview idea you would like to share with us? Message us on Facebook at La Crosse Locals. Subscribe to the La Crosse Local Podcast on your favorite podcast app. If you like us, rate us 5 stars. We thank you for it.